Have you ever wondered how safe the planes you travel in are? It's a question that may send a shiver down your spine. We entrust our lives to the aircraft manufacturers every time we step onto a plane. The cornerstone of this trust? Safety. And at the heart of the aviation industry, we find one of the largest manufacturers, Boeing. But what if this trust was misplaced? What if the safety culture we believed in was not all it seemed? These unsettling thoughts lead us to a deep dive into Boeing's safety culture. Today we delve into the surprising revelations about Boeing's safety culture. Our journey begins with the first signs of trouble in Boeing's safety culture. The year was 2018, and the world was shocked by the news of a Lion Air Boeing 737 MAX crashing into the Java Sea just minutes after takeoff. Just 5 months later, an eerily similar incident transpired when an Ethiopian Airlines flight, also a Boeing 737 MAX, crashed shortly after departure. These two disasters claimed the lives of 346 innocent souls. These were no ordinary accidents. They were tragedies that shook the world and raised questions about the safety culture at Boeing, one of the largest and most respected aviation manufacturers globally. The similarities between the two crashes were too striking to ignore. Both planes were of the same make and model, both were nearly brand new, and both fell from the sky under similar circumstances. It was as if a terrible pattern was emerging. Investigators quickly began to connect the dots. They discovered that both planes had been equipped with a new software system known as the Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System, or MCAS. This system was designed to improve the aircraft's handling and prevent stalling, but it appeared to have its flaws. In both crashes, it was suspected that the MCAS had forced the nose of the plane down, causing a fatal dive that the pilots could not correct. This shocking revelation cast a long, dark shadow over Boeing. It questioned the very integrity of their safety procedures and the adequacy of their pilot training. It was as if the company had gambled with people's lives for the sake of efficiency and profit. The world demanded answers. These tragic incidents led to a whirlwind of investigations and questions, ultimately leading to the Senate hearings. The stage was set for a dramatic confrontation as the world waited with bated breath to learn the truth about what had really happened. Would Boeing be held accountable for their actions? Only time would tell. With the world watching, investigators started to peel back the layers of Boeing's safety culture. The crash sites of the Boeing planes became the epicenter of a global quest for truth. International teams of aviation experts, armed with years of experience and cutting-edge technology, began painstakingly sifting through the wreckage. The initial findings were startling. Preliminary reports indicated that the crashes were not solely the result of mechanical failure. Instead, they pointed towards a potential problem with Boeing's safety culture. A culture that, allegedly, prioritized deadlines and profits over the safety of passengers. Investigators discovered that the pilots had struggled with an automated system known as the Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System, or MCAS for short. This system, designed to enhance the aircraft's handling, seemed to have a mind of its own. It repeatedly nosedived the planes despite the pilots' desperate attempts to regain control. The chilling question arose: why were the pilots caught off guard by a system in their own aircraft? The answer was as shocking as it was heartbreaking. It appeared that the pilots were inadequately trained on the MCAS. They were unaware of its quirks and consequently ill-prepared to handle its malfunctions. The investigators also found that Boeing had downplayed the significance of the MCAS in their manuals and training programs. As the investigation deepened, it became apparent that Boeing's safety culture was not just flawed, but alarmingly complacent. Red flags were ignored, and safety concerns were swept under the rug, all to keep the production line moving and maintain a competitive edge. These investigations set the stage for some shocking revelations to come. The world braced itself as it waited for the truth to unfold. The truth about a safety culture that failed to protect the very lives it was meant to safeguard. The Senate hearings were a turning point in this saga, throwing light on some unsettling truths. As the gavel struck, a hush fell over the chamber, marking the beginning of a series of revelations that would shake the aviation industry to its core. The testimonies given during these hearings painted a stark picture of Boeing's safety culture, or rather, the lack thereof. The first to take the stand was a former Boeing engineer. His words echoed in the silence of the room as he spoke of systemic issues, ignored safety concerns, and a management culture that seemed to prioritize deadlines and cost-cutting over the safety of passengers. Next came a whistleblower from within the company. His voice quivered as he described a culture of fear and intimidation, where employees were discouraged from reporting safety issues. He spoke of a management that was more concerned with the bottom line than with the lives that depended on their aircraft's safety. The most damning testimony, however, came from a senior executive who had left Boeing in the wake of the tragedies. He described a company that had lost its way, where profit had usurped safety as the guiding principle. He spoke of ignored warnings, bypassed safety checks, and a disturbing disregard for potential risks. Each testimony was like a punch to the gut, the damning evidence piling up, one shocking detail after another. The room was heavy with the weight of the truth, the reality of the situation settling in. The Senate hearings were transforming into a public indictment of Boeing's safety culture. Key points from these testimonies painted a grim picture. We heard about safety checks that were rushed or even skipped to meet deadlines. We learned of systemic issues that were ignored or swept under the rug, and of a culture that discouraged employees from voicing their concerns. We discovered a company that seemed to put profit before people, and it was a chilling revelation. But perhaps the most shocking detail was the sheer disregard for human life. The testimonies revealed that the company knew of the potential risks and yet chose to ignore them. The Senate hearings revealed a disturbing picture of a company that seemed to prioritize profit over safety. The testimonies given were a stark reminder of the responsibility that companies like Boeing carry. They are not just manufacturers, they hold lives in their hands. And as the Senate hearings showed us, it's a responsibility that should never be taken lightly. The explosive Senate hearings sent shockwaves throughout the aviation industry and the world. In the wake of these revelations, the public was left reeling. Trust in Boeing, once an unshakable pillar of aviation, was shaken to its core. It was a wake-up call for those who had hitherto been complacent, a stark reminder that even the most formidable of entities can falter if they neglect the essence of their responsibility. The aftermath of the hearings was a period of intense introspection and change for Boeing. Practices that had been taken for granted were scrutinized, questioned, and overhauled. A culture that had been accused of prioritizing profit over safety was forced to confront its shortcomings and chart a new course. But the impact went beyond Boeing. The entire aviation industry was compelled to reevaluate their own safety cultures. It was a moment of reckoning, a time to recommit to the paramount importance of safety. Airlines, manufacturers, regulators, all had to take a hard look in the mirror and ask themselves if they were doing enough. There were changes, tangible and significant. Regulations were tightened, oversight was strengthened, and the value of transparency was recognized anew. A new era of aviation safety was ushered in, marked by a renewed commitment to uphold the trust placed in the industry by the millions who take to the skies every day. Yet, the scars remain. The memory of the tragedy lingers, a painful reminder of the cost of complacency. It serves as a cautionary tale, a lesson etched in the annals of aviation history. The Boeing saga serves as a stark reminder of the importance of safety in aviation, a lesson that should never be forgotten. In today's deep dive, we journeyed through the shocking revelations about Boeing's safety culture. We've unpacked the unsettling incidents that initially raised questions, followed by rigorous investigations that revealed alarming issues. The explosive Senate hearings laid bare the stunning truths, leading to widespread aftermath and deep reflection within and beyond the aviation industry. Until next time, thanks for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe. The story of Boeing's safety culture is a stark reminder of the critical importance of safety in aviation and the tragic consequences when it is compromised.